Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, and you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, and you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, and you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, and you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Tailgate Show. The big news broke today, boys. We have a new head coach. Rams in place. So Eberflus. The Flus is loose, I guess. We even, for the first time, went on Spaces. They started that up, got some people in the chat. It was pretty cool, man. So
yeah, enjoyed that.
A new day.
You did a good job.
A new day in Barely. How you feeling about everything? Yeah.
Super when all this news from the Raiders comes out, it's like, are you fucking kidding me, though? Let's just go right into it. I mean, Eberflus is super mad. I mean, it's just not.
Out of the top three names, though.
Out of the three names that were on our list, I think we did okay. I don't think. I mean, he's kind of an unknown. Dan Quinn's a little more of a known thing, but he pulled out, went back to Dallas.
Pause.
And I'm happy. I mean, I'd like to think I'm happy. I don't know. I really don't know.
Is it a Colts, like hatred of the Colts type vibe going on?
It's a I don't know vibe. I don't know what he's going to do. It's like, oh, we're automatically switching to a 4-3 and we're doing all this. It's like nobody knows what's going to happen. He's
coached, in multiple defenses. He's not just a cover two guy. He can do an amoeba type defense if needed.
Right.
So I know everybody's going on the cover two because we all love Lovey. We miss that team, blah blah blah. But like this guy can run multiple defenses. I think he's the kind of guy that can coach to his talent. He's been in multiple systems.
Agreed. What about you, Biscuits? What do you think about the hire?
I mean, I think we all had hopes and dreams of Harbaugh, McDaniels, Flores, but in terms of the final three, he's probably AA for a minute sort of talked me into Dan Quinn, sort of got me on that hype train for his second spin, might be a little bit more successful, but I don't know. Jim Caldwell, 67, you're likely turning around in 3 some odd years and rehiring another one. Dan Quinn, my biggest concern with him was what was the reason why he couldn't get that team to recover after that 28-3 Super Bowl letdown?
And Shanahan kind of carried that team as far as the coaching staff. I mean, their defense wasn't that good under Quinn. So they had a lot of offensive talent.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, Matt Ryan and Julio, and
defense was a little underwhelming under him, though.
That was the year too that Sanu had a really good year, I think, opposite of Julio. Yeah,
and he was coming off. Dan Quinn at the time was like we said last episode, was coming off that Legion of Boom defense. He was the hot guy in that cycle.
Well, that's the thing. At the end of that Atlanta tenure, when he got fired, 6 or 7 games into that season, I think everybody was sick of Dan Quinn. And I think it's funny how one resurgence as a coordinator for 1 year, suddenly he's the hot commodity again. So
to a defense that Marinelli really built that back up to what it was. He inherited a pretty talented group of players. It's not like he came in and changed the world there in Dallas.
And Eberflus got the old seal of approval from what's his nuts too.
I mean, that's what was like as far as Kellen Moore, like McCarthy inherited a pretty good roster. We know what Dallas was capable of. It's not like they didn't build that. They actually walked into a pretty damn good situation.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be interesting, the hires that Eberflus has coming up. I mean, for me, those are equally, if not more important than just the hiring of Eberflus. Who's going to be your OC? Who's going to be your DC? Who's going to coach your offensive line?
Just not to jump ahead too quickly, because my opinion is like with Polian, I don't understand the logic. I understand, Josh McDaniels has been my guy. It didn't work out. He's probably going to the Raiders. But Polian picked McDaniels his last cycle of doing this for the Colts. Right? That was his number one guy. So you're basically recommending the guy that McDaniels picked to be on his staff back then, but you're not going to bring in the guy that was your first pick just because he did screw you over. But you have a different employee now. And if your logic, what led you to McDaniels last time, not bringing him in, I question. I'm sorry, because
you should question it.
We all thought
if that's the reason
at the time,
it should be questioned.
At the time, we thought he was blackballed off the list. So I was just kind of okay, it's not happening. But now we're finding out he's been interested in a job.
Well, you can also point back to McDaniels pretty much giving the cold shoulder the first cycle with when we ended up with Nagy, correct?
Well, he at least came in and interviewed.
No, they went to him.
They went to him.
Yeah, and it was a good interview from all accounts. So I don't know. And
I mean, is it possible that he put out feelers that said the Bears job wasn't one that he would be interested in?
It could be. I mean, but his agent is Trace also.
Yeah,
he owns the world.
He does.
Apparently.
That's awesome, though.
That's why when Bears fans were talking about him being president, like college and NFL coaches,
no way.
His clientele list, there's no way. Like you don't walk away from that.
Why would you?
No. But I mean, overall, I'm happy. I'm glad we're getting a first-time head coach because there's an unknown there, and and I'm glad that even though the list may have been built before Poles got in, like it was ultimately his decision. I mean, we heard there was a panel and that he went against what everybody else wanted.
So, right, and I think Poles.
Allegedly.
Poles actually.
You do not want to. You want to die on that hill, don't you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know, the hot name was Dan Quinn. That was apparently Poles' guy, and but redemption for him because he did. There was that leaked DM that showed that.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm just.
Oh, guys,
I've spent how many episodes shitting on the guy? At least got to give him partial credit. So
I think it's almost poetic justice for him that he was right this cycle because, like, if he was wrong, my God,
done.
We were ready to drop so much ether. We had so much in the chamber that we're just looking for him to be wrong.
Why are we talking about this guy? Anyway.
Oh, please, you two in the chat, come on, man.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here poo-pooing the conversation. I was trying to give him some props.
Good for him. He did what he claims to do.
But
Congratulations.
Overall, I think out of the top three, I'm glad because I felt the other two were very John Fox-ish hires, and I don't feel that our locker room is in that same state where you need that steady hand because things are so broken. Like Eberflus may end up being a great coach. I don't know if we could say that for the other two. I think they were very safe, and they could have got us on the right track of being a 500 team. Just my opinion, because Caldwell, yes, he's good for the passing game, but man, he's brutal in the running game on his offenses.
Yeah, real quick,
and that goes back to Indy, not just Detroit.
Okay, so I don't remember his run games in Indy, but during the spaces you had brought up that point too, and I mean his backs were like Joik Bell, Javid Best, 1 year of Reggie Bush he had, and those lines weren't exactly stellar. But
how long was he
to
there,
your
though?
point, if the run game was the same in Indianapolis, maybe it was more of a constant theme with him and not just a matter of lack of talent in Detroit.
But he was there long enough to get a running back. He was there long enough to improve the position.
How much say did he have over the roster, though, in Detroit?
He's a head coach. He's an offensive head coach. There's no way he didn't have a voice.
This is Detroit. I think you're giving him too much of the benefit of the doubt.
What I'm saying is you had Megatron.
You had Megatron and Stafford. Why would you run the ball?
To balance that offense, you can upgrade the back. He had enough time to do it, and he didn't. And they never really invested into the position. It's not important in his mind and his offense.
Well, that was what Mayhew, right? Was the GM? I think that overlapped with him. I'm pretty sure.
That's a deep dive that I've never taken into Detroit, to be honest. But overall, I'm happy about the hire from the three that we heard were second interviews.
Evidently Poles conducted them too, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
he by himself,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Yeah,
But the Flores, I was hoping because him and Poles have a good relationship. I was hoping he was brought in. Not the case. So like, just because it's not the guy I wanted doesn't mean it's not the right guy. That's where I'm at as a fan. So this is wild how they just like identity
Hey,
flop
hey.
profile pictures.
he's got
fucking hilarious.
Mambo number 5 AA as his
Z
picture.
I might just
planes.
keep him here.
No, I
Z
need
plane.
I need that picture to be sent to me, please. That's gonna be my new PFP on Twitter. No, I think Diddy kind of hit it. It's probably not the guy that I wanted either. But I do think there is something to the unknown having that glimmer of hope. And Dan Pompei put out a good tweet. He said, Matt Eberflus is an unknown as a head coach, but what should give Bears fan comfort is this. He has been invested in by several people who have shown consistently shrewd judgment. And of course, every hiring cycle, just like Matt Nagy, we could dig up 100 articles that say, how
He's
great
great.
he is. It's a not exactly Jer. So
Don't ask Dan Dockage.
That guy. Well, that's the thing. He came on and I think he has that shtick in what he does professionally.
Yeah,
he's kind of that shock jock sports guy. I'm assuming. Don't know much about him, but it just comes off that way. So there's
Former Indiana University basketball player, ex-coach.
so he has zero credibility then. Okay. He's a Hoosier.
no, he's a radio. Isn't he a radio personality?
He is.
Yeah, up in Indianapolis, yes.
Yeah, so you always get that
ESPN.
one that has to play the shtick where the sky is always falling. It just feels
Yeah.
like he's that guy, but it was still good to hear a little negativity to balance out. See what happens in these cycles with us is they'll put out a couple.
You get fluffed.
Yeah, you get fluffed.
Yeah.
They put out a couple inspirational videos. It's good to, even though it's manufactured negativity, it's still good to hear the negative side of things to kind of balance us out. I'm at a place where show me, I want to see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not falling into the trap of Chicago Bear media where they're gonna put some inspirational video out about how he saved a kitten out of a tree or some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Or getting out of your car at 4 a.m. to walk into the team.
That was kind of dope though. He came.
I mean, you put that one up
sweet.
against Joe Shones, and it was like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely more of a polls video guy.
It's almost like something out of a music
Yeah, he
video
did.
though. The Mercedes kind of just smoking in the cold weather, and he comes out. He's like, "It's time to go to work, motherfuckers."
I think it was Ross Reed on the Joe Shone video. He's like looking like he's pulling up to teach a AP World History class.
Yeah, and the Giants facility looks like an old beat ass community college.
Dude, it definitely did. It did.
Palace looks all paced out.
Thanks, Ryan Pace.
Ryan Paul's gonna have to say a thank you to Pace for those digs. I'll say that much.
That's fine. He set up the throne for the king.
Oh, there it is. There it is. The pole's position. That's what I
Hey
call
man,
it.
I mean, even if Eberflus doesn't work out, if the GM, if we hit on the GM, even if we hit on only one, we're gonna be good going forward. I want both to work out. That'd be awesome, man. But I hope we hit on one of them this time. And I'm not trying to be negative because I'm excited to see what he brings to the table, and I'm really looking forward. And we can get into it if you guys want now. Who's the OC? Like that's the most important thing, right?
Right. I mean, I don't know. Has there been any names thrown out there yet? I know he said something about the Shanahan tree.
Like that. That's why I'm cool with him being a head coach, because with Frank Reich, he did run the defense. This wasn't a defensive coordinator for a defensive coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was his side of the ball. So but OC is the most important hire now that you went this way with the defensive head coach. So they're talking Shanahan tree. I've heard a lot of that talk. That's the direction they want to go.
Yep.
I got a list of Hogue's names. I'll run them by you guys, see what you guys think. But I think it's Hogue threw out some names, and he was saying Pep Hamilton, Kevin Patullo from the Eagles, Mike McDaniel, our boy.
Mm-hmm.
As a lateral
Mike
move,
Jones.
Well, I mean,
if he's allowed to call plays, I'm assuming is the appeal there.
I don't know how the contract's structured with what's verbally considered a or in writing considered a
He just
promotion. Assistant
interviewed
head
down in
coach,
Miami
maybe.
too for the head
Assistant
coaching
head.
job.
Yeah, he'd probably have to get assistant head coach, I would assume, / offensive coordinator.
I'm there for that. Sign me
And
up.
but there's another name, so he doesn't call plays, right? And he's a Shanahan guy. There's another Shanahan tree guy. The guy from LA, Kevin O'Connell, doesn't call plays either, and he's the offensive coordinator.
Hmm.
So
And
I don't know if that would be an option. We probably have to do something similar. You got Mike Kafka, the quarterback coach for the Chiefs, and he brought up Clint Kubiak.
ooh,
Coops isn't bad either.
So any of those names do anything for you guys?
A couple of them. Kubiak's an interesting name.
Do you think
Where
he's living off
Where
his
was he
dad's?
at?
Do you think he's living
Minnesota?
off his? Yeah.
Was he in
You
Minnesota?
think he's living off his dad's name, or you think he's legit?
He might be living off the old man just a little bit, but look at that Minnesota offense. I mean, they scored points. I mean, give it that.
Did you just
And
look at it?
No.
No, you've never seen that guy, that YouTube video?
no.
Really? He's trying to sell the car to the guy. He goes to see this classic car, and all he does the whole time to everybody he talks to is goes, "Would you just look at it?" Annoys the shit out of him.
Oh no, I've never seen
Oh.
that.
Oh, I'll send you the link. Jesus.
I mean, just to say, Minnesota can score. They've always had, that's not been the problem with Kirk Cousins. So,
But you also have
He
Dalvin
did that in
Cook,
Washington, though.
Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. And there's a lot more talent to work with there. I mean, just like
True.
Brian Dabble in his previous stops at OC. Personnel makes a difference.
yep.
But I don't think we can
I just
totally
find it-
poo-poo
I-
Clint Kubiak because look at Kyle Shanahan.
I
He's
just find it
arguably going to be
funny.
more of a smarter offensive mind than his father.
Biscuits, but you're a fantasy guy. I find it funny that
Yeah.
we're saying, oh, he did it with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins put up numbers.
Oh, yeah, he did.
It's just mad. It's like when you need him, he's mad inconsistent.
Correct.
Right.
He can fluff. He can fluff stats all day.
Yeah.
So it's not like making
Sure.
making Kirk Cousins put up numbers is
No,
not really making Kirk Cousins work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Of
I
course,
don't.
Mike McDaniels, of course, we're fans of that guy.
Just from a comical
No,
standpoint, I don't really know what he
I like
does
his ad-
design wise.
Yeah, if he does any of the offensive play design that's going on.
So apparently, I read a big article about him. Obviously, he doesn't call the plays, but he designs every single running play that San Francisco runs.
It's
So
interesting.
So he's
Like a
more
run
of
game cord.
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. He does have a hand in the passing game, but in terms of play design itself, like they were talking, I think I sent it to you guys in the thread about how they're pitching the ball directly back into the backfield instead of pitching it outside towards the tackle, and his reasoning and explanation for it. Sign me up for Mike McDaniel. The other guy too it would be Kevin O'Connell. Both those guys have taken head coaching interviews in this cycle. Kevin O'Connell's an interesting name just as a former quarterback.
I also
Yep.
think that he's making. So it depends. The run game, he's probably doing run plays and extensions off of the run. That's why somebody like Debo Samuel
Yeah.
is really really blowing up. So, man, my shit's dry. It's winter, cold ass winter right now here.
Pause.
No, just the heat, man. You dry right up.
I feel you.
Going cold to hot constantly. Anyway, let me stop bitching. I would take him here too. I think you might want to bring a guy that can, if he's not very versed on structuring the passing game, you could bring a passing game coordinator in under him or something. But
What would we feel about Pep Hamilton?
The last
I
time
know,
he was
we got to
offensive-
bring him up. We got to bring him up. for air.
yeah. So the last time he was an offensive coordinator was 7 years ago in Indy.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, he's a quarterback coach, passing coordinator in various spots. He coached that football league that failed.
Yeah.
The Washington Generals or whatever the heck they were.
DC Defenders.
That's something. Yeah, that's what it was.
Did
So-
great work down there in Houston though this year with Davis Mills. I mean, he got
He did do all right with Mills.
got a lot out of that rookie.
Okay, I'd be ignorant to speak
Well,
on
all right
that.
then.
I don't.
We
I
had
don't-
Brandon Cooks, correct?
He had
Brandon
Brandon
Cooks-
Cooks, and that's it.
That is
Not a
about
very
it.
talented team down there.
I'm not saying
Nope.
the guy's not talented. I just he hasn't been the lead guy of an offense in 7 years.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't.
He's the passing game coordinator there in Houston, so maybe you're
Nothing.
pairing Pep with Mike McDaniel. A little bit of salt and pepper.
So
paprika, you say?
Swing and a miss.
I have nothing against Pep. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how.
You just shit all over his Davis Mills work, and
I don't know. All I'm saying is he hasn't been an OC in 7 years.
Jared, what do you think?
I think anybody could be good if you get them enough talent. I mean, South Elgin and chat says Pep Hamilton been good at with young QBs.
Who's moderating the chat?
I don't have controls to moderate it. What up, South
That'd
Elgin?
be
by the
me.
way? Look at Dan O'Donnell in the chat.
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look into him. He's not a guy that I really taken it deep. I didn't break down all these guys. I didn't have the
how
time.
could you?
I have kids and shit, so I didn't
Why
have time
would you
to
do that?
I just gave you a list. Sorry.
It's great.
Maybe next episode I'll have video highlights and shit of each one. Breakdowns, analytics.
You didn't do the 3-year game tape breakdown of Pep's offense?
No.
Okay.
I think Pep would be an OC consistently if he was meant to be an OC consistently.
Cool. Great.
He could be
Fantastic.
the QB coach, pass game coordinator, sure, because that's what he's been doing, right? But that wouldn't be a promotion.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple of interesting names from Dallas. I don't know if any of them are rumored to be OC, but just maybe part of the
I like
offensive
'em.
staff.
I like him.
the first two for sure. So offensive line coach Bill Callahan,
He's been a head
very
coach.
very well regarded. Offensive line coach and former Bear Mark Colombo, also
Love
a
it.
BC grad.
He'll knock Phillips right the fuck out.
Yeah. Kyle Valero, he's a quality control coach and analytics. It's my guy, numbers guy.
Columbo's
then-
a former Bear too, right?
I believe so, yes.
He got injured, but he didn't pan out till he got to the Cowboys. But
And Wade Phillips' son, Wes Phillips, who is and that's actually not a Dallas one. He's actually the LA Rams pass game coordinator and tight ends coach. But that was from PFF Brad.
Nice.
let's go.
What about the Dallas guys, man?
Yeah, right.
Now, with the Dallas situation being what it is, there's a lot of rumors flying that Dan Quinn's the next in line for that job. They may even move on from McCarthy. Do you think any of those guys would leave necessarily if Quinn were to somehow take that job?
Where'd you hear that?
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
It's they've been rumoring it on Fox.
I thought Moore would be the guy.
No, evidently not.
Fox is
I'm
fake news.
surprised he hasn't gotten
That
a
was
lot
on
of
a
love on the interview cycle. More.
Mm.
I thought
Oh,
we'd
Moore?
hear more. Yeah, I thought he would be more of a hot name than
More
what
for
he's
more?
been. More for more.
Yeah, I mean, making Dak work is pretty impressive, being that he's never worked in his whole career, right?
Especially when you have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott in that offensive line, and Mike McCarthy above you. But
Give me that offensive line though. Now
That offense,
yeah.
that offense wasn't broke.
Nope.
They inherited a good situation. It's just Garrett could never get them over the hump.
any decent offensive line coach gonna come in here, look at Sam Mustard, and say, "Get the fuck off my field."
I like the idea of
Yeah.
Callahan, though, a head coach experience. If his expertise is O-line, hell yeah. We have a first-time head coach. I don't mind having a couple of former head coaches taking positions on the team.
It might be good for a young coach as long as it sounds like Eberflus is kind of a stricter fella, kind of rules with an iron fist a little bit. Now you got to have somebody that might need to give him that balance, balance him out.
I also like the fact that it shows humility, because you're not bringing these guys in as senior advisors like Nagy was.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
even though Nagy started off with Fangio, but I think bringing former head coaches in for a first-time head coach, and they're really good at position coaches, benefit. These are guys he can lean on for advice. There's going to be snags. I mean, the first-time NFL head coach.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
You
to
just
have
hope
those
that
guys in your staff that can help you out, why the hell not?
you just hope that he build good relationships and he can get some production out of those relationships to hire him into our group.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I think Marinelli, I'd be blown away because that now
Yeah.
you're saying I'm being humble enough not to call the plays and just concentrate on running the whole team. I
That's
would
the
love
question.
that.
Do you think he would be capable of that in his first year?
I think with the respect he has for Rob Marinelli, he would be able to do that. Yes, but I don't know if he'd be able to do that with just anybody. Marinelli had him under his wing. That's a
It'd
guy
have
that
to be a
he
super veteran coach like
right.
that.
That's a guy he respects, and we didn't bring that up either. Marinelli had some really positive things to say
Yeah.
Marinelli was
about
all
him.
about him.
He doesn't mince words. You know what I mean? He's a guy that if he's going to say something, he means it. He's not a bullshit artist. Like he's old school.
If he's going to say it, he'll say it. But if it's negative, he probably won't say it about a person. That's
He
what I'm
probably
saying.
wouldn't have done the spot on the radio if he didn't
Right.
like the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind that at all. But
Well, I think the
Well,
three things that we've also heard about him, real quick, Jer, and two of them which I think we're sorely lacking, is the toughness, accountability, and intensity. The accountability and toughness, I think, are two things, obviously, that we've talked about at length that have been missing from this team for years.
yeah,
the
and I think
levy chart is back.
The levy chart?
The levy chart, the loafing, all of it, it's back. He uses all of those things.
that's a
Oh.
Marinelli thing more. I think.
Yep. Well,
But he also uses the ball punch that Levy
Yep.
got going. So
I wonder if we'll get off the bus running.
yeah, I think the things that we're going to hear a lot of. One of the I don't know if you saw. I didn't take the screenshot or anything, but there are certain things he says a lot in every presser.
Oh, he has catchphrases too.
No,
is Mike Martz
it's-
available?
No, it's catchphrases about football though. It's not
Oh.
like collaboration and shit like that. It's just stuff he repeats about the game, which I'm
Okay.
fine with. That doesn't annoy me that much.
As long as I don't have to hear about finding the wise, and that's where we're at.
Yeah,
That'll
it's
be
not going to
okay.
be like some like freaking daily devotional.
Right on.
So I
What
can't
about
wait
the
to
other
hear
side of the
hear what
ball?
he has to say. I'm looking forward to the pressers too.
There's
Has that
rumor
date
that
been announced, by the way?
I haven't heard anything. It could have been why since we started. I don't know. What's up, Jay?
I was going to ask you any other DC guys that there's rumor that he might bring over his linebackers coach from Indianapolis.
Yep.
And I didn't know if there's any other names that have come out on the defensive side as of yet.
But is it Benghazi, the linebacker coach for the Colts, might come over for him, or Borgonzi, whatever. His dad,
Borgonzi.
his father does something too. Is it with the Chiefs? Is he in the front office or something? Something like
I have no idea.
he's related to somebody from I think from the Chiefs. But linebacker coach there, I think that was a rumored guy he might take with him off the staff. So I don't think that's for DC though. It's probably, or it could be. Maybe he has that much faith in him.
Could be. There's a lot of ifs and buts, man. It's like
There would be, and any of those three we mentioned, there would be. If it was Caldwell, who's going to be the DC? If are we going to keep guys? Like if it was Quinn, who's he bringing in as the OC? There'd be questions with everybody because we question everything at this point in our fandom.
I think the one thing about Quinn,
We've earned the right to question everything.
True.
absolutely.
But I'm here for the fluff right now, man. I've spent the whole fucking season being miserable. I'm gonna at least enjoy the fluff until we get to the regular season and reality hits. If that's
You gotta find positives. Like even during the season, man, I'm like, I just want to see our depth and if Justin can develop. Like
I want
you
to
have to see bits and
see.
pieces that you're still looking forward to, even when the season's going to shit.
I want to see Roquan in a 4-3 cover 2.
Dude. And I've said this since we drafted him, Jer. You can vouch
I know
for me
it.
here.
Yep.
Even through the draft process, the stuff we didn't record, I was like, that's Derek Brooks right there. Now, Derek Brooks, I don't whoever doesn't remember him, he was an absolute
Bad man.
beast in a Tampa 2. beast.
Yep.
I
And
love.
Mac
I
McClellan
liked
with
him
their
out of
hands in the
college,
dirt,
man.
too.
His Florida State days. You remember that visor? Like
Yeah.
he was just. He's always been a baller. Like but anyway, I think Roquan is very size wise and athleticism wise very very similar. Like almost a hybrid version.
If you can get the people in front of him out of the way and let him roam and run, that's very exciting.
It is. We got some big body dudes. I mean, honestly, everybody's like, where would we use Goldman if we switch to a 4-3? Are you kidding me? Goldman
Tackle. Run him next to Tonga or
Oh
Blackison.
my God! Your line just got like five people, 5, 6.
Yep.
But
They're big
Tonga
human beings.
and Goldman are probably what, the 5 technique in that defense? I don't know if either one of them have the explosiveness to be the 3 technique.
You just need to keep people off your linebacker.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
become
I mean,
almost
true
an
too.
offensive lineman. You know what
But
I
you
mean?
but you
Just keep
definitely
them up.
want that gap penetrating 3 technique like Tommy was though
You
too.
got
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Guys like that, it's almost like they're playing offensive line on the defense because they need to open gaps for the linebackers to come in and keep them occupied.
Do
Yeah.
you think that Bilal could play that 3?
And we've talked about that before. I think it's an interesting idea.
I don't know.
It's possible.
I don't know if he's fast enough and like Tommy was, man. Tommy was quick and
your
fast.
your boy Blackson too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
I like
Yeah.
Blackson a lot. I really do.
But I think the
think he-
4-3 is more natural for Quinn too.
Mac
You know,
too.
Yeah,
Yes.
both of them have had success in the 4-3.
God.
Dude,
2
Mac,
down linemen and oh my God.
at Mac's
Just
age,
thinking about
like he doesn't have to drop back. Like
I saw somebody say Mac is the Sam linebacker. I'm just like,
it. No. no.
horrible idea.
I mean, compared to what are our other options? Like, yeah, he'd probably be better than anybody else on the team.
True, but you're not playing him at his play of strength though. Put his hand on the dirt and let him be on that
No,
outside
but
end.
If you switch to a 4-3.
If
You gotta say
switch
that.
to a 4-3, correct.
that's
Which-
true. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a whole lot of things, but like basically everybody's thinking.
What about
it's
your
cover
okay, I'm
three.
gonna ask
It
about
might
your
take
boy.
them a year, by the way. You know, with how many resources probably need to go to the offensive side of the ball. It could be a year that we're still sticking with the 3-4 until they transition over. That's
Or,
quite
or they're
possible.
just gonna transition over, and we have to really wait a year to see how it pans out because
True.
you
Yeah.
physical defensive backs. It's like Jalen. Who else?
Yeah.
Charles Snowden, what do you think about him? Where would he put? I know that's your boy.
Full screen Diddy.
No. I don't have that. I don't have all that tonight. But
What is he about? What's he 6'5",
he's 6'5".
250, 260?
Out of college, and that doesn't translate all the time. So I don't know. He must. If they didn't see something in him, maybe he's underachieved. I'm not sure. But out of college, I can only go by that. He was very good at dropping back in coverage. He's fast as hell. He's lengthy. He has no fear of trying to fight off blocks. Like how Leonard Floyd plays now is what we were waiting for. But when he first got here, he was just happy to like run into an offensive lineman.
God
This
damn,
kid will
he's
try.
6'7"?
Yeah.
He's big.
I didn't know he was that tall. 6'7", 240.
So like imagine him at nickel. It'd be like
That's a big nickel.
But he's athletic. He's athletic.
It's
as
a
hell,
buffalo
man.
nickel.
I know. I just think it'd be funny because you'd have like this hybrid out there. But he's got more of a basketball player frame than like he's lengthy. He needs to put more meat on, I think, to for the daily grind. But I like his potential. I do.
He's lengthy, needs more meat on him for the daily grind. There's just
For consistent,
I need that sound bite, Jer.
for NFL size. You know what I mean?
Meaty.
Like he needs to bulk up.
No, yeah.
Beefy.
He's a lean at 6'7" for only 240.
But situationally, he should have been playing. With the way our pass rush effectiveness was, we were getting the sacks from Quinn, but
Yeah.
our pressures were down bottom of the league.
Yep.
He could have been
Travis-
disruptive for us. That's all
I'll
I'm
throw
saying.
another name at you. Travis Gibson. Guy that's developed, got some sacks in a
put him
3-4.
You could put him inside in a 4-3.
You think?
Think he's big
6'4",
enough?
263.
Yeah.
That's probably about out of Wale size back in the day.
He'd abuse guards because you get off the snap quick. Could abuse the center
A
too.
lot of stunts. And he played that. Didn't he play defensive end at? Was he at UTEP?
Wasn't he an outside linebacker in college?
Yes,
No, I think
thought he was.
Yeah.
he played defensive end. But
So
yeah,
and so going back to
Can't-
Roquan,
He'd still be able to stay at defensive end for depth too. But you have options. We have enough talent for versatility up front.
up front, yeah, I would agree with
Linebacker, defensive back. It's gonna have to be some retooling.
Tulsa.
Tulsa, yep, good call.
Sorry.
Joe.
think-
So that's the thing about Roquan is, are you leaving him at the mic, to carry the seam routes? Are you throwing him at the will? There was a spirited debate on Twitter, and I think he can play both positions very, very well. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they put Darius Leonard over at the will position in Indianapolis, and they drafted Bobby Oriki.
Gibson was a defensive end, by the way.
At Tulsa?
Yep.
Okay.
So, sorry.
No, you're okay. But then Lance Briggs came out today and said that he envisions Roquan playing more of that will spot. So, I mean, your Mike linebacker in that Tampa 2 is going to be a huge acquisition this offseason if you're moving Roquan from the Mike to the will.
I think you play him like Derek Brooks in a cover too. He's your middle linebacker.
I personally, that's what I would do too. I said
I can see the argument for either.
I mean, he would play both the positions incredibly fucking well. Let's make no doubt about that.
He can get to the quarterback and he can drop back in coverage. He's your middle linebacker in a cover 2, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I agree.
I think I don't know who we have to fill the outside guys.
That's the problem.
If you're bringing Mac and Quinn up,
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of holes on this roster. Poles is going to have to fill the holes.
Yeah.
Hashtag Poles fills holes.
we need a physical safety too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pillow fights.
Well, hey, maybe. I mean, I know there's some bad blood there now, apparently, according to him. But Adrian Amos is a guy who could be very well a cap casualty in Green Bay this offseason.
I'd take
he's
Adrian
not coming.
back.
I'd take Adrian back. I don't think he's coming back, but I'd gladly take him back.
Nah, he ain't coming back.
Why?
Why even think about it?
I mean, he's been
they
shitting all
didn't-
over us on Twitter.
They didn't tender him after he posted one of his better years as a Bear. Nah, he ain't coming back.
He's made comments on Twitter to the fact that he's glad that he's gone from here. So I don't see that bridge being viable to come back to. But you never say never. Who knows?
Still Green Bay releases his ass. It's like, fuck the Packers.
Could be.
All right, you want to play this game? Going back home for a minute, like playing in a cover 2, he'd eat.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I hope we get that guy. I hope they can scout that guy. Whatever. I don't care where it comes from. We need one physical safety and a better second option at corner.
Yeah.
I agree. Although they worked a lot of guys
Peanut
out.
Tillman looks like he can still play. Come back, Peanut. Like,
You wonder how guys like Artie Burns and those guys can assimilate in a cover 2 scheme. I mean, Artie played pretty decently towards the end of the year.
He did. Diddy doesn't look too happy about that, but yeah, he did. He's refraining from his true comments on
No,
that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, Jalen can play any scheme. Let's not fuck around there. But I definitely think you're looking to upgrade that CB2 position. It's going to be interesting to see how many of these guys that
Thomas Graham
polls
could
evaluates
definitely. Thomas Graham could definitely. We just don't know. He showed flashes. I do think he could handle the cover 2. With how what we saw out of him.
Matt Nagy back in the chat. Hopefully you're happy with the other Matt. We are, Matt. We're very happy.
I'm actually a lot happier with the new Matt now after seeing his ugly mug on our freaking screen there.
Ravens just hired a Michigan defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Not interesting.
Really?
took care of his brother. Got his boy in the NFL. So
Ain't that something? So we're going to need a special teams coordinator too, it looks like.
yeah, and pronounce the guy that took over for the Raiders head coaching job there.
Bisaccia.
There we go.
Satya Biscuits.
Basilia.
Okay, yeah, that guy. The Bears are
fucking know.
zeroing in on him for the special teams coaching job. Do you guys know anything about their special teams? Because
Not
bet-
particularly. I mean,
I'm gonna say pretty fucking good. No
I can
analysis
tell you this.
done, but I'm just gonna say pretty fucking good. They trusted him enough to elevate him after the Gruden scandal. Honestly, I thought he got a bad shake there. I thought he earned the right to keep that job in Las Vegas for at least another year and see. And the guy supported him too.
I think giving the special teams guy the head coaching position is just a smart move anyway, because you're dealing with players from both sides of the ball. When a coach gets fired or a coach can't make the game,
yes.
All you need to know about him is how his team responded around him whenever everything else was falling apart.
Yep.
That's all you need to know. That tells you the kind of man he is. That he could hold that team through all the shit that they went through and then get them to a playoffs? Playoffs?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
We didn't talk about Mike Groh possibly being and we've discussed it amongst ourselves,
Right.
but not tonight. But he may be a name to look out for too. He was our wide receiver coach when I think we had Marshall and Alshon.
Yep.
And
Doug put up a name in here, Pat Shermer.
I haven't seen a wide receiver develop. I mean, Alshon was developed by Groh. We got to give him credit for that. So we did see player development with him.
God, is Pat Shermer still alive? Where's he been?
Just an interesting name to throw out there. I don't know.
I think Matt Nagy in the chat here says, if you had a choice, who would you pick, Mike McDaniel or Joe Brady? Now, Joe Brady's an interesting name because that was a guy who was very people were very, very high on him.
He was Joe Burrow's guy in LSU, right?
Correct. And then he went to the Panthers and didn't go so hot. But again, when you're given what he was given there in Carolina, I don't know if anybody could have made that work.
College style offense, if that's what he's bringing to the table, and I'd be ignorant to speak on it because honestly, most of the season I've had tunnel vision with the Bears. So like,
yeah,
if he's trying to bring a college style offense similar to what Justin will flourish at, why the hell not? We have the talent at quarterback that if he's going to run a system that benefits Justin, I'm all for it.
Find Kevin Wilson, throw money at him, bring him here.
Ohio State's OC.
Yes.
Too.
God damn, I would love to see him back with Justin.
I would too, but the talent they have at wide receiver.
True.
Those two dudes are going to go in the top.
I'm gonna take you back further because he's ex-IU. So
here we go. See,
no,
there's
some inherent bias in there.
Biscuits, okay. I got a sneaky name for you because we haven't heard of him because nobody pays attention to the IU. So, like, he really thought he had one on us.
That's I'm saying he let us score. He got us to scoring points at IU. You know, he had a pretty good offense there.
Well, was he there with Jordan Howard? Did he overlap?
He actually was with Jordan Howard.
Okay. It's all making sense, right? Biscuits?
Yeah, it's all coming together now. Fuck it. Call the where the fuck?
Call Jordan Howard.
That's what you're getting. That's what you're getting to.
There we go. Let's get the band back together.
No, I'm just saying, prolific passing actually with him. We scored a lot of points with him. He went to Ohio State. Their offense didn't sputter. Now did it? No, it did not.
Would you rather have a guy fresh out of college? Or would you rather have a guy that had, even though it was bad experience, had NFL experience in 1 year away from college? So at least he's got a little more.
I get you. Yeah, I can get some Joe Brady.
You know, a little more sharp into the league.
But even a lot of these NFL coordinators now are integrating college concepts now into their.
That's a great name, Dub. He got Nate Sudfeld drafted. Let's tell you. Exactly, but he got him drafted.
Right. I mean, and there's other options too. I mean, if we couldn't get Roman, what about the
Oh,
quarterback coach in Baltimore?
there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so teams that you like in the way they run their offense. What about people off their staff that it would be a promotion? You have to really do a deep dive that
Right.
I haven't done yet. I would do stuff like I do stuff like that more in draft season. This news
Agreed.
cycle is coming at you way too fast to dedicate the time to take a deep dive like that.
It'd be James
But
Urban, by the way, quarterback coach for Baltimore.
okay, that could be a guy too because if you like that offense that they run, you know what I mean. Everybody's talking.
Man, I don't know. That
What
running
about
quarterback shit just makes me nervous.
sure?
And
Okay,
his
what about
back.
Dorsey? If Dable stays, what about Dorsey?
Yeah.
See if you can sneak him out, maybe.
He's worked with Cam. He's worked with Josh Allen. So those, I think Josh Allen's actually more similar to Justin as far as not as powerful of a runner. He's a faster runner, but that talent level is the same. Yes,
It's way
good
more
coach.
similar to Allen than it is Lamar Jackson. That's for damn sure.
We got Matt Eberflus in the chat. Everybody, we got him and Matt in the chat right now.
Matt and Matt
Battle of
violence.
the Mats.
Send the
We
links,
might have
boys.
to.
Yo, send the
Hey.
links. We'll get you both. We'll send you the links to get you both on the show and have it out. That would be epic.
That's an
wouldn't
idea.
Yeah,
Dan,
man.
Dan in the chat, you're gonna have to moderate Matt and Matt. Make sure that they don't get into it too bad. Dan, just keep an eye on that for us.
Two nice guys fighting. Can you imagine?
I don't know, man. Eberflus got some is
He got some
pissing a little bit
pep
of
to him, man.
vinegar. I'm taking Eberflus right now. Nagy's down bad right now. I don't think he has the. I don't think he's got the fight in him
Well, he
anymore.
fell off the face of the earth, didn't he? You don't see anything about him. It's like, oh, well, he gone.
Why?
Oh,
Dude,
let-
that's what. Okay, as a human being, like I don't blame him. Like it didn't go well. Like he knew he was gone in the Detroit game. He held on, dealt with the media
Yeah.
bullshit. He's getting paid, Jer. He's getting paid millions.
Sure.
I would chill
Sure,
the
I'm
fuck
just-
out too. Take a year off, and then the next hiring cycle, come back if you want to get back as an OC or something. And he dealt with COVID, man. That dude needs a break. And it sucks that he didn't work out. And like as a fan, yeah, fuck his offense and all that stuff. But as a human being, I don't blame him one bit for taking the chip.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
hell no.
I think he's going to have a hard time recovering from this offensive performance that he had with the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you justify that in an interview? You know,
Yeah, why couldn't you make 5 quarterbacks work or 4 quarterbacks work? However many
Right.
fucking was.
If Kafka goes, I could see him, Andy Reid, bringing back an old pal. But
Yeah.
I agree, man. But there was a lot to it. The offense in general was just misevaluated as far as our O line, as far as overhyping
don't
our
disagree with that.
receivers, missing in the draft at receiver. Like a lot
Well-
went into it. It was a collaboration.
Well, I was told that
I'm glad
Ryan
the
Pace.
collaboration's gone.
I was told that Ryan Pace wasn't going to be out of job for long. Anyone hear his name being mentioned among some of these vacancies?
who?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, if a new GM may put him on his staff, he's not going to get a GM position. He
Yeah.
could be a scout. I'm sure he could be a scout.
He would probably be best suited for director of college scouting instead of. I just don't think he's a big picture guy, and that's Ryan Pace talk. I don't even know why we're going back to that.
Yeah, I mean, I would let him scout running backs, and
Defensive lineman for sure.
yeah,
So I do think that's another interesting thing. So we kind of talked about it today in the spaces is the fact that most teams at this point in they're going to be likely keeping a vast majority of the scouting department that's currently there. So for this upcoming draft, do you feel any sort of hope that maybe we could still continue those mid to late round hits while also looking at polls and their success in the early rounds in Kansas City? Is this maybe a draft upcoming that we maybe could put the whole picture together and come away with a good draft class when it's short on draft capital? I'll throw it to you guys.
we're out of the
Right.
first round.
Yep.
Right now, yes.
Whatever decisions they make directionally to go in offense and defense, I'll just be happy if we have guys that contribute to that at every pick.
And it's going to be needed too, with how many guys are slated to leave. That's definitely going to be needed.
I mean, you have a hell of a draft if you hit on 3 guys, even if they're
Yeah,
just contributors. It's a good draft. It's such a crapshoot, right?
yeah.
I'll take that. Just guys that are going to be dogs. You know what I mean? To come in here, fit the direction. As long as they fit the direction of where we're going, and I think that's my biggest problem with Pace.
As long as we have a direction and
Yeah,
we
but
have
you
coaches
don't.
that can develop.
So you don't draft to need, but you draft to your team's dynamic and what you want your team to be. And there was never a vision. Pace just wanted these athletes. He
Correct.
he would he would go up, move up for guys that had that potential. But like Floyd is looking good now, but Floyd didn't didn't fit that rough vibe that Fangio was trying to bring. He was like a little soft at first, really. Um, but he had a ton of potential. Kevin White, are you kidding me? For that size and that speed and what he had, he never played. He never played as tough as we thought he'd be.
No, his routes were just terrible though too.
Injuries mounted up, but like even before that, it was all right. You know, like I mean, even in training camp, we weren't seeing these like
Right.
before he got injured or whatever. But they were never able to get that. So I want guys that fit into the culture and what the direction of what the team's going, man. That's my most important thing. As long as they're contributing to that and fit into that, because that's something like the Patriots. I hate bringing them up. I hate them as an organization, but they do certain things right. They have a profile of what they want in a player, and sometimes they're not the most athletic. They could be really they could be book smart. Whatever it is that Bill does, he has guys that will come in and contribute, and they're like blue collar guys that sometimes they get flash exposure and people talk about them, but sometimes they don't. They're just a team of dudes that knows where to be and fits great into what they're trying to do.
Did Poles get Hardman and Edwards-Helaire? Wasn't McCole Hardman like a stealing
McCole,
like a
I think he was either a 3rd or 4th round pick, I believe.
fast guys, right?
I don't
Yep.
know if I don't know what region Poles was. He director of college scouting?
I'm
So
not
I'm
sure.
sorry. McCole Hardman was a 2nd round pick. My apologies.
He was. I think I don't know if he directly had. They have a GM there, right?
Well, yeah, Brett Veach.
Right. So you don't.
He was. Yeah,
I
he
just
was.
wonder.
there
I mean,
for
well, he was
spell.
there. He was there, right?
Yeah, he was there. I'm just saying, like
I
you
mean,
don't
does
know
any
how.
of that rub off? Yeah, maybe. I mean, we've got to hope that some of that rubs off, you know?
He was part of the staff that drafted those guys. Yeah.
Right. So,
Well,
as a Bears fan, you asked the question: do I think that they can put it together and put a solid draft together? They can,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
that's a positive. He comes from a place that did that, just like the Patriots. They get guys to fit in and be successful. Yes. So yes, and that's some of the part of that. A lot of people thought Scott Pioli sounded like an idiot on the radio, but he can't. He's a fairly good front office guy.
Right.
Not a bad guy to be groomed by, and that's Poles was. So, and that's another thing. We're hearing a lot of good things about this kid. Like, yeah,
Pioli polished poles.
no Poles. Like, and I'm calling him a kid because I'm 43, which doesn't really justify calling him a kid. He's 36 years old, man. He came in here and told ownership, "I'm making the decisions from all reports," which I freaking love, man. Young kid,
Allegedly.
Right.
you alleged. A lot of this stuff's allegedly, man. So we talk allegedly all fucking year long. This is what was put out there by somebody who's been consistent, even though he's a dick. Okay.
Well said. Well said.
And there
true,
it is.
If true, that's some balls, man. 36 years old, first time GM.
Yeah.
Obviously
I think he got
investigated. Obviously, Jerry got a very good idea of his surroundings during this interview and said, "These motherfuckers aren't telling me what to do. If I'm taking this over, I'm running shit."
As he should. If you
As
want him
they-
to do the job, let him do the job.
Dude, that's the infomercial they put out in the presser that the GM was going to be the top football guy reporting directly to the owner. He heard that.
Yep.
He held them to the fire. Good for him.
Good.
And I think there's a little bit being too much overblown, by the way, of not expanding the coaching search. I know AA was a big proponent of maybe did they rush it? Should he have expanded it even more? I mean, I think for a lot of these guys, who are getting multiple interviews in different places, I think they've known for quite some time towards the tail end of the season from Trace or whoever their agent is that they're going to be a name that's going to be interviewing at multiple places. So if you don't think these guys are putting together names on a list of who they would like to talk to as head coach, and vice versa, when they came in there to interview the first time, guaranteed he gave them that list of who he wanted to talk to. So I don't put too much stock into, why didn't he expand it? They gave him 3 names and made him choose between these 3. I don't think that's the case
These
at
are
all. The limited knowledge that I have.
And remember, these are the 3 that were reported.
They really had to get the GM right. So that was a long process that was going to start bleeding into getting a head coach in here. I'm sure it was, hey, well, guys, do you want to bring in for a second? We'll take your list because we're trying to get this going. And even before they interviewed, they probably this guy. Whatever the top 3 ended up being, if that I'm hoping that was his top 3, because it's not fair to him if it wasn't. But I like the fact that even if it wasn't, he took that and he ran it. He picked his guy, because if we waited a little bit longer, now staffs are going to start being built.
Right.
You're going to lose that side of it. So I have no problem with the timing. I think I'm a little cautious and trying to get too hyped, but so far I've liked how this thing has gone, because this is different than forcing a coach on a young GM. He got at least 3 to pick from.
Yeah.
And he handled the interviews himself, allegedly.
And to play devil's advocate in the chat, BK says, I'm with AA. Did we need Eberflus on day 2? Bears have serious FOMO because they are dumb. I mean, and I think it's valid to be skeptical based on, how many decades of ineptitude we've had to sit here and watch. So, and at the end of the day, none of us are in that room. We don't know the inner workings. So it could be that everything I said could be just completely full of shit. That's just how I choose to view it right now.
Biscuits, how are the workings with freaking Polian, Ted, and George? It's like,
don't forget Soup and Tanisha.
It's like two like 60-something dudes visiting their grandfather.
Grandpa?
Did you see the report that Polian was apparently pissed off that he was not involved into the head coaching interviews after Poles was hired?
And he was pissed off about the pick because he wanted Caldwell.
Yeah.
Oh, well. If you hire the dude that is supposed to be the general manager, which in Chicago really is the top football guy in our organization, let him do it. I actually love it. I love that that's how it was put out there.
Me too.
If it's not realistic, okay, we'll find that out. But I like the way it's being portrayed right now.
Right. And, cautious, I think we should all pursue this with cautious optimism, There's nothing wrong with being a little bit optimistic about a guy that's an unknown.
Yeah.
And he was a name brought up early in the process.
Right.
And there were multiple teams interested at first. Maybe he weeded things out. Chris Ballard, even though I think as a GM 42 and 42, I think there is a little too much hype with him. Watch
yourself.
There's a little too. He's a 500 GM ultimately in his stay there. Yes, his personality, he's cool. He'll talk to you and shit, right? But the production hasn't been. It's been 500. So
right.
He hyped him up though. A lot of people have respect for Ballard. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm excited about Poles more than Eberflus because I'm still real cautious because we haven't heard anything about the staff that's definitive. The OC is going to be a huge part of his hire.
# Diddy loves Poles.
Well, dude, sometimes defensive guys at first have a hard time identifying the right fit at OC.
Yeah.
So what kind of face was that, Jared? That looked like it hurt.
You're echoing.
Dude, did he? Not on my end.
Then it's me.
I'm getting back feed too.
That damn Ethernet.
Could be, Rabbit.
No, I like the offensive line background from Poles. That's the thing that's got me most excited for him is I know the investment and the attention to the O-line that's greatly needed and deserved will finally be there with him. Now, whether or not he can identify the correct talent along that line is a different story, but at least the emphasis and focus will be there to dedicate resources.
Good question by BK in the chat. You want to read that?
You're echoing too, Jared.
So BK in the chat says, didn't the Bears jump on Nagy because Ballard liked him in Indy? And I vaguely remember that being the case. I don't know, Jerry, you might have a better thought on that than me.
Not really.
He was a candidate.
All right, Jerry. Thank you for that analysis.
He was a candidate in Indy.
Yeah.
Pace tends to jump the gun.
Yeah. But ultimately, if it works out, it works out. I mean, it's just so hard.
Right.
Like, we can just sit here and go back and forth and say, did they jump the gun? Did they not jump the gun? Ultimately, we really don't fucking know until the games are played.
No, but it seems like we landed a culture builder as a coach, like real culture.
And that's the goal, right? It's where we got to get
Culture
to.
and an identity, something that Jer and you, Diddy, have mentioned multiple times all throughout the previews this week is, me and Jer thought we had an identity at one point, and Diddy was staunchly against that. That's what I'm looking forward to is the toughness, and I don't want to use too many Chicago euphemisms, but bringing back that Chicago Bear football a little bit.
Chicago hustle, baby.
Yeah, when I speak about identity, I'm not talking about how the offense consistently looks or how the defense consistently looks, because I'm talking about the makeup of the players you want, the direction you want the team to go.
Yeah.
Some offenses, as long as they work against who you're going against, they could look different every week. So I'm not talking about that kind of identity. I want the identity of this team just to take advantage of other teams' weaknesses. It's the makeup of your message and how you, like the ball hawking stuff's going to be back. The fight, the stuff we saw from Robert Quinn that we weren't seeing from anybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to be all the guys on the team. That's what I want to see. That's
You're not going to see shit where people don't touch people down.
Exactly. Well,
that's the identity I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's get some hustle, baby. Show some heart.
Yeah, like make people think twice about coming over the middle on a slant route.
You betcha.
You know what I mean? Like that dog, we need that back. And from everybody. Like we got it from Quan, we got it from a couple guys.
I want to play the dog clip so bad from the Coastal coach.
Like guys like Hicks. guys like Hicks, that Hicks mentality at every position.
What do you do with Hicks? Bring him back?
Got to free up money, man. There's too many needs on the team.
I think he's going to have other opportunities, but if you could bring him back at like something at a vet minimum or just over, yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I think it's worth the gamble at that point, but
I think consider it for the changes that were made. I don't think he would have ever considered it for the old regime.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Yeah, I just wonder what the players' reactions are. I haven't seen a whole lot online about it. As far as like, I've not been on Instagram a whole lot or anything like that. But
I don't even know if Khalil Mack even knows. That dude's chilling in Cairo, Egypt right now. He might not even know that there's a new head coach yet.
Justin probably knows. I'm sure they've talked because he was in Chicago last night, right? At the Bulls game or something.
Yes, he was.
So,
Hicks and Nichols are unrestricted free agents. Dan O'Donnell in the chat.
Nichols is an undrafted or unrestricted free agent. Good call, Dan. So Nichols is a guy who's probably going to get a decent size contract. Is that? That's the thing. Ryan, I mean, Poles has a lot of work cut out for him with only 28 players under, short on draft capital. The $44 million looks great, but it's going to go a lot quicker than what people think. And
things might look different. That's all I'm going to say. I have my thoughts. We might be losing guys that we really like.
Yeah.
Ooh, throw out a name out there. Someone that would maybe surprise people, did he?
I think that you got a guy like Eberflus who really hasn't had super good defensive ends. Not yet. Like did he have?
His edge rushers in Indianapolis were not anything really special.
You're coming to a spot where you have Quinn and Mack, which is probably like holy crap for him, right? But you might have to try to trade one. That's where a lot of money is invested.
The key to that defense is DeForest Buckner. in Indianapolis.
Yes, great.
If you
point
can get
there.
DeForest Buckner blocked, who is that anywhere near our roster? Do we have any player like that? We have one at that defensive tackle spot, and he's an unrestricted free agent.
So
If and
When
Couple
Hicks is
years-
healthy,
a couple years ago, yes.
say that last part.
when Hicks is healthy, he is that guy.
Okay, thank you. We need that guy every week.
I know.
Yeah.
So if you prorate his contract at the games that he can play, then okay, we'll talk. But he might end up commanding $10 million.
I just can't imagine. I don't know. I just hate to see him go because he can he can turn a game.
When he's on, yeah, dude. But when's the last time he's been?
Minnesota.
No, I'm just saying. Last 2 seasons, how many games has he played?
Maybe a combined one season. 16 games, 17 games, maybe.
It's unfortunate because I do like him. He's dominant.
Dan brings up a good point too. Eberflus had Quinn in Dallas that one year before we gave him his payday.
Well, that's why I brought up
Yeah.
how Robert Quinn plays. He's got that mentality. We could have a bunch of guys like that.
Oh, am I wrong? I think Dan's saying I'm wrong.
No, I think he did have.
Who knows?
I thought he was.
I thought he was too.
Who
Oh,
knows?
actually, no. He was. No, he was. He was in Indianapolis. My bad. I read the thing wrong.
He was in Dallas too as a linebacker coach.
He was in Dallas. True,
They
but I
didn't
think
cross
Robert
over?
Quinn was still with the Rams.
Rams? Okay.
Yeah, before he went over there.
I thought they crossed paths. Somebody was saying on the radio, but God, like I said, you're taking in a lot of.
Hey, the Eberflus. We're calling about the Eberflus there.
Well,
Johnny.
why don't we get Coach in the show? He's in the chat, so
I think
Yeah.
he bounced.
Send
I
Coach the link.
Coach bounce.
Yeah, he had enough.
He's got things to do, man. He's got to get his staff assembled here.
I mean, overall, I feel much more positive
I think so too, and I think that's the right way to feel.
than going into another season of Pace and Nagy.
Yes, 100%.
We're gonna go one way or the other, boys.
Well, like you said, Diddy, it's the unknown. There is an element to the unknown, and that's hope that it's going to be better than what we previously had.
And as fans, when we talk about the guys that we want, it's also the unknown. The guys that we want could end up floundering where they went. So I don't get really super stuck on the guys I want. I'll joke around on Twitter and push it. Hey, if I'm right, cool. If I'm not, I've been wrong before, right? But I want the right guy, and I just hope we got him. I don't really ultimately care what his name is. So
Exactly.
I hope they got it right.
It's championship weekend.
It is. We already
Coming
did our
up.
picks.
Yes, we did on the YouTube special. So you'll have to go back and check those.
Way to go, Jer.
Well,
Little-
Biscuits was too high, too under the influence to remember his picks.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You can't bust Biscuit's balls because you couldn't even get the recording to pod, and there was no excuse.
Is this recording right now, Jer?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
So yeah, we didn't get to pod form, everybody. So yes, the picks are on there.
We
Just a
were,
little-
yeah.
Each
There
of
is
you.
an excuse, actually.
I'll go through the picks real quick, you fucks.
I think
All
I was
right.
alone on an island on both picks, I believe.
right.
You were.
Yeah.
So Jer, who's in the lead with 55 points since we started doing this playoff pick'em, is he's got the Rams and Chiefs. Biscuits, you're at 30 points, and you've got the 49ers and Bengals. Me and AA are tied at 25, and we both have the Rams and Chiefs.
See, got y'all right where I need y'all. Boom.
These are 20-pointers, so if somebody has a good week, they could start evening out more, and the big game is going to be 50 points.
Right. Dan, the next big date to come up, Dan, is February 5th. That's the Senior Bowl.
Yo.
Which I don't know how much. I don't know. I'm digging into that shit. Do we have to?
So we're doing a special Senior Bowl pod, man.
We're sending you to Alabama.
Live.
I am not going every
I'm
week in the
closest,
offseason.
so, you
like
know,
every
I'm not
every other
closest.
week. Every other week in the off season, not every week.
We'll see.
Play it
We'll
by
see how
ear.
it goes.
Yeah, you guys can go.
Oh, listen to him.
Get content all year long. There's there's a certain point, like after the draft and voluntaries,
Right.
that dip after
There's-
that is just like,
It's brutal. I get it.
So for
But we
people in
made
the
it through
chat,
last year.
this is what Diddy does. He's always like, "Oh, nah, you guys can go ahead." And then
No,
the
I think-
time rolls around, he's like, "Yo, where's the link at? 10:30. Let's go." It's like,
yeah,
"Whoa,
dude.
let
No,
you
I don't know
know."
about every week in the off season though. Like, we'll try our best. I'll try my best. You guys want to roll?
That's the spirit. That's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's right. Got anything else about this?
No, I'm interested to see how the staff shakes out, man. I'm interested to see the pressers and hopefully the media.
The introduction, I want to see how that goes. I don't.
Yeah.
What time is that scheduled yet? Have they scheduled it? They just announced
I haven't seen
Eberflus
it.
they
officially
have.
this evening.
Do not know, man.
One thing that I would be curious, and I'm assuming it's probably not going to change, but something that really would be nice is this time Ryan Poles having more media availability than Ryan Pace ever did, and that's really never been a thing, even with Angelo and Emery. Just I think that's kind of the way that they operate. But it would be nice to have a little bit more, whatever the hell you want to call it, just a little bit more access to the guy throughout
A
the
little
season.
YouTube
Nice.
special called "Sitting on Poles."
No, like
Oh.
you see him in the beginning, you see
That's
him in the
genius.
draft process, you see him at training camp, mid-season maybe a presser, but you don't want to distract from the head coach too much. A lot of GMs don't interview that much during the season. So like
Any news?
a mid-season
Yeah.
stream, is that what Biscuits wants?
No, I'm just like, like maybe like a Mickey Loomis, a guy who's still willing to branch out and talk to guys that aren't necessarily like our Jeff Joniak or something like that. Like someone
the
outside
radio?
of the organization who's willing to have a conversation and maybe give us a few quotes here and there
Like
would be
Dio?
nice.
Yeah.
And no, they have not announced the date and time of the presser yet.
So you want Waddle and Sylvie to bring
Yeah,
Poles
absolutely.
into the show?
Dude, I would love a weekly polls chat with Waddle and Silver. You
You
kidding
just
me?
want to see Waddle. You just want to see Waddle and Sylvie on Poles.
I'll be honest, I had to turn them off today because of the callers. I mean, the callers are never particularly good, especially on 1000. But I mean, there were so many people calling in today. Just and maybe BK is one of them because he feels like the process was rushed. But I just don't. At least, I mean, look, everybody should be allowed to fan how they want to fan. Your reaction can be complete opposite of mine. That's fine. I just think. Let's just give a little bit of hope into this thing. Let's give the guy a chance before he proves us wrong.
The last time they did a GM search, it was only like 6 deep, maybe. This was like the list was 15. I would they get 13 interviews done or something like that?
Yep.
That's a lot to process. Like you said, if they were asking these coaches who were their top guys, and this is who they identified for that candidate, I have no problem with the process because you have to start. If you're going to hire a defensive head coach, if that was your mindset, the OC is a very important hire. You need the cream of the crop that's available. If you wait too long, guys start getting plucked.
Yeah,
you cannot be waiting.
We can't. We need that. Like, good. Denver got Hackett, right? They got an offensive minded head coach. Okay, cool. Now we're still at that point where we can get a guy that can have the autonomy of running the offense. There's not going to be anybody above him. He is the offensive head coach for the offense. So, yeah, I don't mind the timing, man, because now we're ahead of the game.
It's also the second biggest hire, by the way, for us outside of Eberflus. It's Denver.
It's the biggest hire. It's it's potentially one of the biggest hires of our lifetime if Justin becomes a franchise quarterback because of the person we bring in, man. We've been waiting our whole life for a freaking franchise quarterback. We still think Justin has it. This is a huge hire, man. The influence this guy's going to have on potentially what could be a make or break for the next couple of years. We're going to really find out what Justin is as an NFL.
We're going to find out about a lot of the guys on this roster.
It's a big deal. It's a big freaking deal. So I don't mind getting.
It's a big shift in attitude.
Yes. So
do you think we overvalue that just a little bit?
With the shift in attitude?
No, just like the offensive coordinator hire. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not important at all, but look at a guy like Justin Herbert coming out of college. Can anyone tell me who his offensive coordinator was his first year?
Anybody? Bueller.
I can't even remember the fucking guy's last name. It was like
Bueller.
Shane Stenich or something like that.
Shane Stenich. That's a good pull.
But
Good name.
I think the thing that the Chargers had was a decent enough line up front, and they had a plethora of weapons that Herbert could work with. I think
A what?
a plethora.
A plethora.
Plethora?
I'm just saying, plethora.
That's such a retread word.
Retread. Listen,
So
man,
you just
this
said
Plethora.
plethora. How do you say it?
plethora or plethora? That's a
Plethora.
Plethora.
Well, fuck. There's another word I've been running around for 30 years saying wrong, and no one's ever fucking corrected me. So I'm over here. Plethora. Retreads.
Plethora sounds like a part of the anatomy.
You know, as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that definitely
Yep.
kind of sounds like another word. But,
Yeah, that's a big pause.
and BK says, you know, it's a fluke. Well, so was anybody overly excited when the Bills got Brian Dable? He had to go back to Alabama and reprove himself as a coordinator there. And what did Alabama have there? A lot of talent.
Speaking of Alabama, there's a name.
Bill?
Bill.
Bill.
There's a name you haven't brought up.
Go
Bill
ahead.
O'Brien.
You're undercutting Dable too. He's the one that brought McDaniels to New England. He's been part of a Super Bowl staff there. He's been part of a national championship staff. This isn't just some like bum off the street.
I'm not trying to undersell Dable. What I'm saying is you've already seen his resume. When you don't have the personnel around there, it doesn't look as good. Soon as you have personnel in Buffalo there, now all of a sudden that whole picture starts coming together.
Right, but you still got to make that talent work.
True, you do, but my bigger issue is I'm not saying that offensive coordinator is not an important hire. What I'm saying is that the personnel is equally as big of an aspect of this. Oh God, here we go, Dan. Dan O'Donnell in the chat. I would not like to think that a person would tell someone he has a plethora. God, I almost did it again. And then find out that the person has no idea what it means to have a
plethora.
Oh my God.
English.
What I'm saying is
biscuits.
you can hire, you know, a great offensive coordinator. If you don't have the personnel there, none of it really matters to begin with.
Yep. Talent matters.
It's a mixture.
Yes.
Would you like to see Bill? Would you like to see Bill O'Brien? I poked at it.
You need to know how to manage that talent. You can have all the talent in the world. You need to know what to do with the talent, and you also at the same time need to be able to bring use the talent in the guys that may not be the most talented guys on the roster. Put players in position to succeed. That's a part of it, and like that's what we need, man. We need that dude. I'm not saying that Justin is definitely super talented. So like I'm not saying that the guy's going to control his destiny, but you have to make everything work around him.
Well, you said it. You made a really great point, Duty, because I think there's a lot of people out there on Twitter that are kind of controlling that narrative that thinks it all kind of hinges on who the offensive coordinator is for Justin's development. I think it's a piece of it.
It's a huge part of this coaching staff.
Yeah.
You got to figure out who can get anything out of Jenkins, who's been messed up in the back, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with James Daniels, who is his contract's up, and you've got the big void that is Sam Mustipher in the middle.
How do they view Larry Borum? How do they view an aging Cody White here at that salary?
We're really going full off season here.
Oh, we got time, but I asked you about Bill O'Brien. You didn't say shit.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I would love Bill O'Brien here.
He was too busy worrying about plethora.
Is that the time that it was brought up, Jared? Because if it was, sorry,
yeah,
that was definitely worth the distraction.
It was around there. But
Bill O'Brien, absolutely, man. Like just him as an OC, yes. I've talked about this earlier in Spaces, but he failed when he had to take over when he took over GM responsibility. His offense, where he's coached, has been good. He's a good offensive mind. and he's a head coach experience. He's probably going to go back to New England if McDaniels leaves, so that tells you what Bill thinks about him.
Yeah.
You know, I think he'd be definitely. I think Caldwell as an OC would be really good if he was able to get a run game coordinator in under him. I think would be okay. I think he'd be good for Justin. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it plays out.
Big
But I'm-
hires coming up.
I'm down
No,
for somebody.
Plethora.
All right, y'all were right. Y'all were right. I just wanted to confirm.
You had to Siri that shit,
Dude, I just wanted to make sure because, not gonna lie,
bro. You're gonna
plethora.
do. You know what? I
Hey,
have
your
an,
plethora is hanging out. You need to put that up.
I have an off-season pod I want to do of earning Biscuit's trust, bro. You do not. You just you can't commit, bro.
this is true. I definitely have enough self-awareness to know that is
What
definitely
happened
true.
though? Did the Bears beat you up this bad as a fan all these years? Where you just
I blame my mother.
Beat him over the head
damn,
with
that's
plethora.
actually. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't
Love
want to
you,
get
Mom.
deep.
If you're listening, I know you're not, but
This
love you.
got way deeper than I thought it would, dude. I was just relating it to Bears fandom.
Dude, I'm just fucking joking. That was awesome, man.
Wow.
No.
Biscuits was about to get on the couch and tell us everything.
Risk it all, Biscuit.
Not that couch.
Pause.
Pause.
Anyway, I think that about.
I think that
wraps
wraps it up.
man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Eberflus brings to the table. I'm looking forward to seeing how we attack the draft and build this thing with a focus. As long as we have a actual focus, and we see it out on the field, and it doesn't look just like a clusterfuck like the last regime where you don't know what the direction is. So that's all I'm looking for, man. I'm excited to see how things play out.
Yep, look for this episode on the website. I'm going to put it over on thetailgateshow.com. It will be up on all of your feeds for downloading podcasts. Like and subscribe. It'd be
And
nice.
I put the link.
Leave us a
I put the
comment.
link tree on our page. So
We have a link tree there. Click it. That'll take you to anywhere that we have a social presence. So
yeah, and I appreciate everybody joining Spaces today. I was at work.
Spaces was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I couldn't really join in much. I was actually in my work truck trying to talk here and there. But yeah, it was cool to see everybody join in and get what they had to say off their chest and everything. I wish we could do that here, where like if somebody's in the chat, you could just click them in.
Yeah,
That'd
that
be
would
cool.
be nice.
It'd be dope
Yeah.
if they had, even if it wasn't the video, just being able to talk like you can on Spaces is pretty dope. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for joining in with us there. We'll be here most of the off season, so we just bring it
Yep.
like fans. We don't act like we know everything.
Yeah,
And that
we are not experts. And
because we
Varchek
played-
has made its appearance.
just because we played high school football doesn't mean that we think we know everything.
No.
Pretty much that's it.
But if
You
you,
don't
play your
say.
cards right, you might get a tour of Diddy's high school field. Oh.
No, I'm good.
Hey, shout out BK and Dan for joining us in the chat all night. Appreciate
No.
you guys, man.
Yeah, thanks.
very much.
Thanks,
Shout out,
Dub.
shout out
Shout
to
out.
AA. Couldn't join us tonight. That's all right though.
Shout
He's
out to
working,
the Matt.
man. The Eberfluses. Let's see who else is
I'm
in
glad he got his pot. I'm glad he got his pot in though. He got his response out there with
there.
Spaces.
South
That's good.
Elgin, who's always there for us. Gotta love that
Yep,
guy.
South Elgin. Just really a plethora of listeners tonight.
A plethora.
Plethora. Did I say it wrong again? What the fuck is it? Now I can't remember. Now I'm
Nah,
so
we're fucking with
confused.
It's a
All right.
retreat. It's a retreat plethora.
Retreat plethora. Got it.
All right, let's.
All right, fellas. Well, that's just another episode of the Tailgate Show.
Duh, plethora.
Ryans and Matt's. Oh my.
Peace out.
The Ryans and Mats. Oh my.